Nice.
So welcome to your first session. I hope you're excited. Are you excited? You don't have you can answer that dishonestly if you want.
I'm like medium excited. Maybe excited's not the word.
Okay. What
Well, maybe
word?
closer to eager. Eager to go over stuff, of course.
Sure. So, you've provided me some really good answers. I will say there's one answered the questions in particular I wanted to ask you about. It's you said that the on the puff number pad, you said that you thought that it was a trick question. What do you mean? Like, I know you explained it, but I'm still confused. Like, what do you mean by that? How is it a trick question?
Oh, to list Puff in a vacuum. Like I guess people immediately jump to I'm playing the matchup. How do I avoid Puff's strongest regions? Um,
Yeah.
so to suspend her in midair and point out her regions when a lot of what Puff is doing is like rising or falling felt like it sort of is a trick question because I don't feel like that's how the matchup plays out a lot. It feels like she's always rising and challenging like those corners positions rather than the plus symbol, we'll say. So it was more just like a theoretical versus in practice question to me.
Hmm. So, do you think that? So, okay, fair enough. No, that makes sense. So, the only square I'd challenge is two. I'm take it that you think that it's because of her down air.
Um, Actually, yeah, it would be because of down air mostly for sure. Um, because she's in the air, so yeah, it would be down air.
Are we really worried about being under puff though, even if she has down air there?
Um, Worried not so much. Maybe just a mix of like I think of like the HBox sets I've played, or like people are getting better at tomahawks. I realize that that doesn't totally apply when again she's just suspended right above you. But it definitely does. Maybe the word isn't like afraid of Puff there, but also feel like I can't get much there.
Isn't that where we get like up tilts and up airs and stuff though?
It is where you get up tilts, not so much up airs. I feel like Puff's just, and again, this is vibes only player moment, but the getting under her is great. I'm not. It's not that it's that. It's just that maybe in those positions there's like a tendency to reach for Puff, and she sort of slips out of stuff and manages to get to the ground and get beside you and start like playing some scarier mix-ups.
Okay. But I would say that's a function of her mobility, not her hit quality.
True. Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, so
Two
like
is a pretty fair contest.
yeah, no. My answer to this one is 8 6 no is 4 6 and 8. I don't
Mhm.
include 2 just because like I feel like the if we look at how Fox's, Sheik's, any character really fights Jigglypuff in practice, they're usually trying to get under her or go in at the diagonals because those are where her, and what the point of the question is it's to demonstrate that there's a tactical reason for this. It's because she just doesn't have things there. So
Yep.
her challenge is using her mobility to align herself so that she is in a spot where she has relevant moves. That's really what makes her powerful. It's not the moves themselves, except for her back air. Her back air's stupid. But do you kind of see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like that's where the power of the aerials are. I guess it's just the I'm always thinking about it from like a she's rising or falling perspective, but again, that's just kind of where I've come to learn the matchup where I'm at today.
Yeah. So let me ask you. We keep talking about rising and falling. Um, how does she? If you're fighting like a hypothetical Jigglypuff, like let's say you're fighting Hungrybox, and he's in the air, like he's full hop back aired up into the air. He can't, and you want to get in on him. Um, you have the option to go to like advance into his zone and try to get under him, but that's really where the falling back air comes in, isn't it? Right? Like that's where he falls and like aligns himself so that he's lateral with you and then defends his space. Yes.
Yeah, like I'm just curious, is this like I'm in center and he's in corner? I'm
Let's
just
say
trying to visualize it.
sure on FD, he's a quarter of the way in, and you have center stage.
Okay. Yeah, that would be like he's one step away from back airing me and falling with it.
Yeah. So like sometimes, I'm not saying every time, but sometimes this is where like Cody might potentially full hop around him, depending on how he like judges Hungrybox's drift and his willingness to fight him. Because by Hungrybox descending with that back air, he is also opening up the space above him for to be attacked. Right? He's opening that diagonal entry point.
Mm.
So this is kind of like, but what Hungrybox could do is just not fall with that back air. He could just double jump into back air, and then he's lined up with Fox's full hop there, right?
Yep.
So this is like what I mean by like she's using her movement to to stay in positions where she can like protect herself from Fox's game plan of getting into 1, 2, 3 or 7 or attacking in from 7, 9. But it is ultimately in service of keeping her lined up for specific things because that's just like how her character works. It's just
Yep.
It's just fundamentally what she does. But this is where Fox's superior mobility in certain spots is actually really handy and part of why he's good against her. With that said, okay, it sounds like we're on the same page. It's just like the question was a little weird. Or like to wrap your head around. Totally fine though. Like again, your answer is very good, but I wanted to understand it more. With that, I don't really have anything, concerns about the survey itself. So with players at your level, I like to pass it to you. Where do you want to start? How do you foresee this time being productive?
Probably, frankly, maybe just starting from the ground up on a couple matchups that I don't get consistent practice in and would like to start applying proper game plans to. Jigglypuff might even be a great one because I had a pretty puzzling set versus HBox recently. That might be, a great starting point. I was going to talk to Cody about it a bit too, just to get his 2 cents. But I'd say Puff is probably the leading, like, if I run into HBox and bracket, it feels like not doomed, definitely like doable, but again, it's sort of that thing we're chatting about where it's like if I'm playing great, but playing great isn't always a reliable game plan. It's not a game plan at all, really. You kind of just show up and things just go your way. It's not really reproducible or anything. So, I think probably focusing on like game plans and concepts. In a lot of ways, I sort of saw this as a potential space to just even introduce new concepts that I don't necessarily consider, and even talk about situations that I don't really go over in detail. You get your own mental model going and your own framework going, and then sometimes it's easy to back yourself into the corner on that one, and you just you forget how to expand and learn new things about the matchup again, or understand them in a different way. You sort of just learn them the way you learned them, and then that's it.
Yeah, so let me ask you, the set you're in question, is it versus him at Eggdog Scramble? Eggdog
Summit. Yeah.
Summit, okay. Eggdog, the other Eggdog.
Okay. Yeah, the one 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I have. So let me load this, and I've put it to 70.75. Let's go through a leisurely stroll through Foxpuff. So talk to me about what your game plan is. Like, when you know that you're fighting Hungrybox, like, I know, what goes through your mind? Like, what is this matchup to you, what is this matchup to you? Like, how do you fight it? What are the do's and don'ts?
To me, one of the strongest positions that I like to play against Puff really is that under triangle, like 1, 2, and 3, like you said. With a really strong focus on trying to get him down to the ground and into tech chase positions. I really don't like chasing up with nairs a lot, but going into this set, I had just talked to Cody and Aklo about a few things and was considering how do I sort of implement that into my game plan. In general, the answer is just deny him his openings, and find some of mine. But I really struggled. I felt in this set in particular, I would dash dance around everything immaculately and then get no reward for it. So yeah, the original thought versus him is just keep getting him to the ground, play a ground game against him, because I don't mind playing against Puff in grappler mode. And it just didn't feel like it came together in this set.
No, it feels like he's just denying you your stuff. So talk to me about this. Talk to me about this play. Is this a controller thing, or what's going on? What happened here? What is this play?
Me looking for the bear there?
Yeah.
You mean? Well, okay. It's a little tough to call everything a controller thing. I've had issues with it the last 2 weeks and have swapped controllers since. I don't think that was a controller issue, though. I think that was just a mix of me thinking if he keeps drifting forward to the other platform, I just want to hold center. It was more of I'm not sure he's going back to the plat in the moment, I think,
Mm-hmm. So let me show you something with Jigglypuff. So you're concerned about like you don't like chasing her up there because of like how she might like drift into into a different spot, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you something cool. So what would you? Let's like figure out some threat ranges here. So let's start with. What color do you want to be?
I just do red. It's fine.
Perfect. Okay, so you came over here, you went here, and you're coming up like this, basically. Maybe like at a slightly sharper angle. Let's use like actual straight arrows. We'll say that you came up like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the only way that you can come up? Like, can you go forward more? How much? And if so, how much more?
Like are you talking about with a full hop, or if I decided to then go a little further and short hop?
No, a full hop.
Full hop.
Like
you can definitely continue arcing up and over pretty much right to the edge of the plat.
Yeah. So my question here is, why don't we just full hop nair here? Because like the thing is, your nair hitbox is going to come out like here, right? So it's going to like be active for like a very long time as you're moving over to like where she is. Oh, this messed up. There we go. So like if our nair is active here and it's gonna like follow the like curvature of this like trajectory line on our way over, it's really hard for her to like get out of the way of it. And it's also kind of tracking her like where she would drift away from us too. You see what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because like where does her drift just works in like standard directions. Like it's just like kind of anywhere she wants to be, but like we're cutting off like almost like so much of them. Like basically anything on this side of like anything around here basically gets dealt with immediately by the snare, and we can even like kind of adjust the jump to like compensate for these, I think. So it's not, because it's an arc, it's not straight lines the way I've drawn them, but like it's more like this. So I'm looking at this and going, one of Fox's strengths is that he can kind of aim behind Jigglypuff. Like if she's here, you kind of want to aim a little bit behind her in general to catch that space to prevent things like this from happening. And Fox is really good at that, because if Jigglypuff is here, then you really want to aim to like cover this spot too. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. I think part of the concern here for me maybe is also like getting up there in time before Jigglypuff lands and making sure, but I guess that's a different sort of scenario. In this case, I did have an aerial up and out fast enough, just not the correct one, really.
Well, it's also the drift, right? Like, because we're pulling back with this. Like, that's the big thing. Because I'm saying we want to be like, if we hit her with this, she's probably dead.
Yeah, part of me is wondering if I'm like, am I thinking of this because I saw that his back is to me already, so I land in front or land behind him so I don't get grabbed? Like that was the only other thing that I'm even seeing in this position.
Mm-hmm. And like with her back air hitbox being here, like we're not even like interacting with it because we're coming up after it and we're coming from below, so it's just
Interesting. So I'm curious if I just put the nair out that early, but he like let's watch it. Yeah, I see it. The nair could have connected before he lands.
Yeah, because I think, like, and I get the fear of, like, him getting there, but, like, these are the types of openings I think that we need to be, like, keeping watch for. Because they are quite powerful, and like, this was potentially a kill. At 44, if he DIs, like, most places, I think we do just kill him, either off up smash or up air, depending on where he goes.
Yeah.
Because, like, 56 up air to, like, 82 up, like, maybe around here. Like, around there. Yeah, like, that's definitely a kill. Oh
yeah, sorry. I was just thinking like it'll probably come out more in this set regarding up air in general, but I think he plays very pesky in this matchup to specifically try and bait out those up airs that put you in the corner, and then you have a bad stage position generally. But anyway, sorry,
this is off a combo though. I feel like it's a little bit different if we're like doing it like I in neutral. I get it, but like this would be like nair into up air.
Right.
So I view those a little differently, but it is a good observation because he definitely does try to like get people to overextend. Now, one thing I want to ask you, let's suppose that he can't. Let's suppose that like in this situation we can't actually hit the nair. Let's say he actually can get to the platform in shield first, and you know that. Do you still want to do this full hop?
No.
What do you do instead?
Probably hold a strong position underneath. On like. Realistically, I've been working on these short hop up airs that I'm seeing more and more of, not just in this matchup, but Like Fox can just do those shield poke up airs that are short hop instant up air, pokes the shield, contests Puff on the platform. You don't have to do that, but either way, the step one is establishing a position right there. Where you just drew pretty much.
Yep, and then you do the up air there. Perfect. Love it. That's basically the answer I was hoping to hear, because that is absolutely what you do. Like, I don't think this is like, I think that one of the nice things about Fox is he's pretty straightforward in this kind of position. Like, if you know where they're going, what he does is pretty clear. I'm curious, though, are there any indicators you can see on the screen that tell us that this play is going to work? Because I'm going to give you, like, the diagram without this, like, without some of these, but with the ones that we know, that, like, because we know the nair will work, is there a way that we can know the nair will work? Like this.
Is there a way, like, in the moment, it's clear that the nair is going to work?
Yeah, like, what are the indicators for this nair working? Or this nair being a good...
Is your definition of the nair working meaning it connects, or that, like, I land on the platform before it? Because he could jump maybe out of the way, or, you know, go back the other way kind of thing.
Well, the nair, so I would say the nair is, like, pretty... I don't really think he can get out of the way of this nair, like, with how we... Like, when we look at how we go for it, like, see what I mean?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's sort of just the drift, really.
So he was over here and he went here.
Yeah.
So that could be a factor. How would you describe the drift?
Like full drift, you mean? Like, or
like what? How do we like? So what is the significant part of like what I'm asking here is we know that the nair is going to work because we see him we're dash dancing. We see him go here. We keep running, and maybe it's that we're running with his drift.
I see. Yeah, like he sees me running, he decides to pull back. It's kind of just in that exact moment that the bear doesn't connect with anything. Yeah.
Drift and dash aligned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then height probably, right?
Yeah. The height definitely, but I'm also just thinking like it's the fact that his bear did nothing in the first place. There's like a really brief lilt there that sort of gives away that he's going to drift back in the first place.
Yeah, and
bear whiffed. Yeah.
Right. So like these two are kind of linked because like we need to have like our dash lined up in advance for this to work. So this one and this one are kind of connected. We also need the correct height. And then lastly, I'm going to throw in percent. The reason I'm saying percent is because I kind of think that like it doesn't necessarily make sense to go for this kind of nair if he's not at a percent where it does something or like contributes productively to our game plan. Damage is good, but I also kind of recognize your points about like wanting to, not wanting to take risks unnecessarily. So like the fact that he's at 44 and we get something off of this, or like if he was at a lower percent and we can potentially combo, like, combo into up tilt or something afterwards, then those are good reasons. But would I do this at like 130? No. Well, maybe not 130, but like would I do this at 80? Probably not. Right. So the percent being productive, I think, is an important thing to recognize. I know that this isn't a game plan, but are you starting to kind of see how do you feel about the approach that we've had so far? Do you think that this is working for you, or do you like hate it?
No, I don't hate it. It's just a matter of like making sure that we're locking in on like, because even the nair in discussion there does the nair covering that, it's going to be a weak nair if it connects with him, and that would be what connects with up smash, right? That's what you're talking about, just to like close the loop on what that nair could result in, basically.
If it's hard nair, you could hit him with hard nair. If it's hard nair, you do up air. If it's soft nair, you do up smash.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I know this isn't a game plan, of course. It's just it is even just watching the setback in real time kind of helps because 0.75 times time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
This I feel is like something that people are afraid of with him a lot. Can you talk me through why we don't just like go under him? Because I'm always, whenever I see him there, especially when he's committing to jumps like higher up, I'm always like, why don't we just run underneath him?
It's usually to do with the fact that like it's easy to throw yourself into the corner against him. And I think that like getting like dashing around is one thing, but like you don't really have access to up tilt while you're dashing is the other thing. So it feels like you're forced into like a high momentum option. This is just sort of how I feel about it. It feels like you're forced into doing something that isn't strong and straight underneath him, so he can kind of just establish a center position if you go a little too far with it. And sort of his, like, again, he, even right there, you'll see he's like wave dashing on plat, waiting to see if I'm going to do something, can maybe sneak under with an up air, etc. It's like, I feel that he presents a lot of ambiguous threats there, is really the short answer.
Something I want to point out, he was dead here, I think.
Yeah, I didn't count jumps at all, to be honest.
No, ledge hop up here.
Oh. I thought you meant like,
No, I know.
if I just suicide.
No, I know what you thought. I know what you thought, but I'm saying that, yeah, this is Sakurai combo. Like, it's so perfect, right?
Do it one more time. Play it back. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so let's like, okay, let's watch this dash. I want to like dig into this dash dancing thing, like with him on the platform, because I feel like this is a position that like if we could play it better, this would take so much like power out of his tank, like power out of him. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. It's like you'll see it in the FD games. It gets even more brutal than this by like a lot. This game already went pretty long, if I recall. So
yeah. So let's actually dig into this moment. What do you think would happen? Because you're on your turn frame. You can do whatever you want. Let's suppose that you, being red, moved here, under like a little bit underneath him. What do you think would happen here? Maybe a little further. Let's say go here. So this is your one, and this is his one. Where does he go?
Up left, down right, down left. I guess he technically could go up right, and he does do that sometimes for sure, but it's going to be one of those 4 diagonals. I don't see him coming straight down here.
Okay, so let's say like, yeah, let's use green for him. And where do you like, so let's say he could go here, 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 here. Yep. Does he have to, where does he have to like he has to double jump for the 2 up conditions, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's say he like jumps up here. He has to back air, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Because he doesn't want to turn around awkwardly. So, and it also gives him more momentum. So if he moves to these 2, what do you think we do about that?
I think you can tighten up. If he goes top right, you can definitely proceed a little further under the platform. But again, I wouldn't want, like, I almost want to keep like a really shallow angle between myself and Puff. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you see the exact position we're at right now? Like the angle between Fox and Puff?
Mm-hmm.
If he moves, I would like to move the exact same amount, basically. So
you
yeah.
want this angle right now, right? Like from here to here?
Like, yeah, draw exactly. So maintain that angle. Exactly.
Why is that better than something like that?
Sorry. So you've drawn 2 orange squares. What do you mean?
So like this is one. This is like let's label these. So this is angle 1, and this is angle 2. So my question is I'll use a different color for this one. I'll use yellow. So why is angle 1 better than angle 2?
What I mean to say, but well, okay, I'll answer the question for sure. It's that, like, if I go angle 2 and getting directly below Puff and with the platform there, it feels like I sort of open up a channel for him to just go back to top plat. There's a reset. I don't really hold him in the corner and find him coming in. It feels like he can just kind of sneak out pretty easily when we're straight below each other. Or sorry, when I'm straight below him. What I meant to say was like box number 2 you drew there to his bubble number 2 at the top right.
Oh,
like,
I see.
I'm trying to maintain the same first orange line you drew to his second bubble. Here.
Gotcha. So we want to keep this.
Yes, I like that angle, and I don't think I played to it super well in this set, unfortunately. But again, it's good. It's probably a game plan moment. So
see, if I see him go over here, I just figure we're so much faster than him. So like I'm almost like I want to go all the way over here. Like I want to go almost like here if he's like up here. Because like you're saying that we can't stop him from coming up to going to the top platform, but I'm like he's at 62. Why are we trying to stop him from going to top platform? I want him there. I want to up air him.
True.
Like if he goes to top, if he moves this way to top platform when he's like burn jumps and he's like we're boxing him out of here, then like my position is that like let him. Like if he goes here, like we'll get rid of some of these because like this isn't a path we're exploring. Let's say that this is his 3, right? So he spends his time from 2 going this way, so we're going like this. So this would be our 2, like because we're doing 1 to 2, and then we're following him up on 3. Like I think that's good for us. Like, do you disagree?
I think like up until now, I kind of did disagree because I just don't like letting him out of the corner there. I feel like squeezing him in the corner, but again, it's like maybe him going to the top plat there is not a big deal considering percent.
Yeah, because like if we up air him there, he explodes. So like the fact that he's like used some jumps to like maintain this, like here, let's go back. Actually, no, we'll go back here. How many jumps does he have? Because like that's something worth considering. Because we need to go back like to where he's airborne. Okay, so here, 2, 3. See what I mean? Like, I want him to like, if he's using his like 3 jumps, I want to get under him because then he has to use 2 to get up there, or at least 1 plus like a pound or something. Like he has to commit, right? So if he's like burning 3 jumps like all willy-nilly over here, then I want to then make it his life difficult in this kind of space. I'll use orange for this. In this space. Because like by being here, we can cover all of this because from this position, he has to spend a jump to go anywhere. And like by being here, if he's on a clock too, because he can't just like hang out here forever. Like every time that he like waits, he drops height. He just like slowly descends. And if he's just entering our space given time, I don't see how we're letting him out of the corner by going here.
Yeah, and just to build on this, something interesting in the case of how he responded to my dash dance is that he decided to go reset back on the platform once he realized that he was kind of like running. I'm just, again, mental model thing. Go back, a few arrow presses. He does his jumps. I'm still holding possibly too far of space. Oh, it might have been a little further back than that.
Yeah, so like I've
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like this is the moment. Like
that
this is
right there. And I've basically gone too far away because I'm holding this really far away spacing for not a lot of anything really.
And this is how he actually gets control back, because this is how he does it. Because that's you trying to like reestablish your footing is exactly what lets him kind of mix you up there and then take that back air. This is like, yeah, we just let go of offense.
Yeah. And no recognition that I did, in fact, do that, really.
That's okay, though. Like, this is what we're, like, this is why you're
yeah. It's more just exactly where I'm like, I'm trying to see, why did he decide what he decided? And, why was I so afraid of it?
No, this makes sense. I gotta say, it's, like, pretty fascinating. I like working with you so far, because you have your own ideas, but you're also, and like, you're not afraid to stand on them, but you do admit, like, when you can see my point of view or like see where I'm coming from. So this is good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I don't, like, this is exactly what it is. It's well, for me anyway, like I said, it's a mix of bouncing ideas and being like, well, what can I actually accomplish there?
Yeah.
Or not.
So let's actually go back to the diagram real quick. How do we know? So like, let's say it's clear that we want to actually like hold some sort of offensive position. I think that I think we can agree that like this pathway of like 1, 2, 3 makes a lot of sense. So how can we formalize that like, what are the cues that we can use to know that we actually want to do that? Because it's really important to me that we have actionables. It's not enough for me to be just like, just do the thing, because like this is like basically like we're either hanging out here. What our 3 is pretty variable here, because it depends on what he does. But if he goes here, we kill him. If he hangs out here, we stay here. If he goes to the platform, we hit him through it, like on our way, like as he gets to about here probably. Like, how do we know that we go to this too, though? What is like the thing that tells us? What are the things that tell us that, or like clue us in on that?
To me, it's gonna 100% be his like drift and the fact that he's even jumping above a platform in the first place. Because he for a minute there, not a minute, but like a brief moment, he's wave dashing on the platform, maybe making it look like he's expecting me to approach and get something on the platform. But in general, his jumping above plat is probably going to be the biggest visual, like, I can respond to this right now and take a stronger position.
So I'm going to also add burned 3 jumps. So we don't have to know, like, exact number, but, like, 2 to 3. Like, we want to see that there's been that, like... We want to see that the first 2 jumps are gone, because, like, burned 2 to 3 jumps. And what's the indicator for that? It's, like, the jump size, right? Jump size shrinking. Jump size shrinking. You could also just, like, go by the number of back airs he's thrown, honestly, because he almost always, like, swings when he goes up anyhow. Or, like, how many... I almost do it by, like, how many bumps she's done in the air, if that makes sense. It's weird. But it's, yeah, jump size shrinking. The other thing here is that, like, part of why this works, I think this would work at most percents, but I would say that percent is definitely a factor here. Like, I wouldn't do, like, we wouldn't do this at, like, 10, right?
No, and I think he wouldn't even necessarily do what he's doing at 10. He might be already contesting more space a little more aggressively, looking for certain, like, tomahawk mix-ups, which he does go for in 2 seconds. I think we just saw it, but
yeah,
in fact, that's how he ended the stock, really.
Exactly. No. This is good. This is good. So this is more of a mid-game thing, like mid-game, like the end of mid-game towards the beginning of like late game versus Puff. Like, this is kind of the type of thing where we can expect this to happen, I think.
Yeah.
Because yeah, he's now like planking. What are your thoughts on planking?
Doesn't really bother me. I actually think Puff jumping up in the top left or top right corner is way more annoying. I know that planking, whatever, but yeah, I don't consider it a really strong strategy per se. You can contest it with down tilt. There are things you can do to sort of push Puff away from the ledge and start reading jump habits. Like, I do think you are taking some undue risk in some of those positions, especially if you're already like down and he's just looking for absolutely anything. But planking in a vacuum, I just don't really care about.
Cool. Wonderful. Talk to me about like some of these decisions, because I feel like this is like you're in the hungry box vortex. You're in the I want to just hit this guy and kill him and like move on to the next stock, and he's not letting you. So like what's the plan here?
To be honest, I think I throw out like an up air in 2 set, the up smash too. Probably some levels of like, panic or believing I can actually get there in time. Even the wave dash out of shield jab, it's kind of just fishing for like a bunch of things at this point.
Yeah.
Generally pretty like fishing heavy. This is my problem with this matchup right now. I think, one of all of these dash dances I'm doing, and I'm sure you're seeing a lot of them already, it's resulting in these full hop bears that are just like nothing. They're not achieving anything. They are truly just, the matchup is in stasis. I've not done anything to progress it.
No. That's kind of been my read too. So conceptually, what is the strength of dash dancing, and what's the strength of dash dancing, and what is its weakness?
The strength is that you are mobile. Number one, you can stay mobile and dodge things for sure. You can establish a stronger position based on what your dash dance is sort of presenting. Sorry, my cat's just jumped up on my desk.
Oh, you're a cat person. Let's go. I knew there was a reason
definitely.
I
like you. But yeah, it's mostly about having fluid response to the game plan. But its weakness, I guess, would probably be that. And maybe this isn't the same way for everybody, but you're sort of just naturally have a tendency to give up space. And like, there's almost like a hopefulness that someone's going to walk into that space, and that's why those bears will connect. But they don't really achieve anything. Dash dancing, unless you are dash dancing with any sort of intent, you're not really accomplishing any sort of progression in the game.
Okay. So I'm actually going to like challenge that there a little bit. So you're saying the weakness of dash dancing is that you're not able to, like, you're kind of like, you're allowing the opponent to enter your zone, basically. Or you're hoping that they'll enter your zone. What I would actually argue the bigger weakness is that, like, the biggest strength of dash dancing to me is that it is the only movement form that gives you full actionability on every single frame that you're doing it for.
Yeah.
So it is unmatched in terms of in terms of like the control it offers the player from an activeness perspective. The weakness of it, though, to me, is that you have the fewest options out of it compared to like the other like root actions. Because realistically, you can't actually go dash dance into aerial. You have to go dash dance into jump into aerial. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas if you had just been like basing your game plan off shield drop or jump to begin with, then you'd already have access to those. So it's not as efficient as jumping in certain ways. Like, it doesn't get the aerials out as quickly, but it also doesn't have the breadth of stand and wave dash based things in that you have access to every tool. Like basically the stand, walk, run,
up tilt.
Basically anything that enters stand, like moves a chunk of space and enters stand or walks, like they have access to their full kit at all times, or at least when they're like completed their setup. Dash doesn't do that. Out of dash, you really only have you have shield, you've got jump to access aerials, but you're doing it slower than somebody's already in the air. You have pivot stuff, but that's really difficult and prohibitively tough for like most people. You have up smash, you've got a B, you got jump cancel shine, I suppose, but you don't, and dash attack, but you don't really have a ton of stuff. You know what I mean? So I think that what the problem is that HungryBox understands this and is positioning in a way where the tools you have access to just don't really do a whole lot. Like, let's watch this and see and see how it looks. So like this is you're actually doing well here. You're actually chasing him down effectively.
There's the nair too.
Yeah.
But yeah, even in that moment, I've sort of not grabbing the ledge there is crazy. Yeah, I can sort of just see where I even let myself get squeezed and didn't just accept that like we were going to trade bears. I decided to like try and evade his and got further dusted for it.
Right, so this is where I'd say that like varying your movement could actually really help you a lot. So like imagine if we work in some like run cancels or wave dashes or just anything else really into these. Like you could suddenly like potentially look for down tilt on this, right? You have the I'm not saying you necessarily do it, but like even just wave dashing away here like potentially gives us the option to up tilt. I think we need to have more variety in how you move around. It cannot just be all dash dancing all the time, because even though your dash dancing is extremely good, the way he's playing is just like forcing you to have like threats, hits beyond, like hits in middle distances that are not quite your full hop forward, but are not quite like your grab either. It's like we need things that occupy that in-between zone.
Which I do in all these other matchups a lot more of, generally speaking. I do a ton more like wave dashes, wave landing, etc. Like and keep those. I just hadn't really considered what the benefit of even doing that was till now, which sounds goofy, but
no, it makes sense. But like look at how he spaces here, and tell me like this is a weakness of dash dancing. The fact that we have so few options. Now you could have beaten this in a few ways. Like you could easily just like short hop back air this, but like the point is that like. But like short hop back or so whatever. Like imagine if we had like wave dashed away and up tilted, right? Or like if we had just wave dashed under him sooner and up tilted, like in some of these. Like I'm not saying you do it every time, but the point is that we're allowing him to dictate so much of this game because we're not doing anything, because he knows what we've restricted our threat list to such a small amount of things that there's not a whole lot he's actually playing around or needing to play around.
Even in that moment, like if you go back a couple, there's like the wave dash back, I establish something under the platform, and then he just sort of decides to respect the space and move back, and I don't even clock that. I didn't even really clock that while we're playing. That like he was aware of the non-dash dance threats, really, because I was dash dancing so much. But even when I stopped dash dancing, he took a sec and was like, okay, what's coming next?
I mean, like, he's one of the best players in the world at this matchup, or at least has been for, like, a very long time. Like, there's... Yeah, he's one of the GOATs.
Yep. No, 100%. Yeah. No, I'm definitely seeing some of this now, where it's like, I'm getting... Yeah, the general feeling is I'm getting nothing done, and this whole set was like this.
Yeah, like, imagine if we don't... Like, because you're... Like, why are we shielding here? Like, the other thing... Like, imagine if we had, like, stopped... If we, like, stopped here and then walked a little bit forward and up tilted here, right? Maybe he doesn't go for that opening, but, like, there's so much potential, like, advantage we're leaving on the table, and we're not even, like, it's not like that shield did anything for us anyway. We still ultimately got hit for doing it in like the mix-up that followed. So if I just don't see it. Like
I truly view it as like a misrecognition of what I have and don't have. So even when he's on the side plat there, it's like I need to recognize that like I actually have a ton of strengths in that position. Throwing that shield up there is, for lack of a better term, straight up dog shit.
You can make that shield work, but like again, like shield requires supporting elements in general in this game, and we both know that. Like you can't get to high level without like understanding how blocking works. Like you can't
unless but running up and shielding right after I established a strong position under the platform, it's the fact that I don't see that as a strong position.
Yeah, that ain't it, Chief. But like the thing is, this is why we learn. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not none of this, like this is just me being like objective or as close to objective as I can be. I'm not personally offended by literally any of this. This is all good.
I'm really relieved to hear you say that, actually, because I sometimes worry that I come off like harsh, but yeah.
No, again, this is like Melee can be a pretty opinionated game, but I don't like. Yeah, no, I would way rather. I get input from a lot of players for sure on a bunch of different things, but this is one of those things where I'm like, I really need to clean this one up. So
yeah. And the thing is, like, what would you say is your next biggest problem matchup?
I'm gonna say Sheik for consistency's sake. I definitely feel better against Sheik, but I still feel like I'd struggle with like a player like Jake. So,
I will say that, like, I would say your strategy works like 8 times better on this kind of level, because you see how he has no like ways to like refresh his jumps and stuff. So because of this, like your dash dancing in this kind of spot is actually really irritating and difficult for him to beat. When we remove the platform, this works way better.
I see.
Because, like, yeah, like dash dancing strength is that it's dynamic, and even though you only have a few options, if those options happen to beat what the opponent does, who cares? But yeah, it's just with the platform.
Look at this fuck. Mm-hmm. Sorry, roll that back. So, just that whole section of him on the ground right here. My God. Just here.
That said, one thing I'm gonna point out before we look at him, before we look at this fuck, you get this up air, and then like he's used like so many jumps, and he doesn't even like. Imagine if we like run cancel here, and up tilt,
yeah,
or like short hop up air here, right? Like God, he's so dead.
It's habitual for me to run into shield a lot too. I've noticed that, so it's not even just in this matchup. That one's a player thing. Could stop fucking grabbing. Oh my
Punish him.
And then I did nothing for it. Yeah, exactly.
So okay, let's actually talk about that one. So what do we punish this with?
I would 100% just run and grab normally. You could drill it for sure. Drill grab would be good. I think drill may be a bit more reliable because you can get it out while you're moving. Whereas grab, like if he happens to mash grab twice in a row, which I think he does sometimes, you would probably lose. So my vote's probably drill, grab, and then get an up throw back air at this percent.
Okay.
Really.
So what is the reaction point for this? Because like this, I don't think this is actually as trivial to grab as we're making it out to be, which is part of why he's doing it. So like, let's say we see this one. So what does it make sense for us to do next time? So that we have this one for up tilt. So then we're doing this here. I think we've gone too far at this point.
100%. And this is, I think, like a manifestation of me over respecting his wave dash in grab. Because I feel like he gets into wrestler tomahawk mode, and I've been shielding a lot. Like maybe a little bit of like an overthinking on my part. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think of course I could have played this better to maybe get a grab, but when I look at exactly why I chose up tilt there and exactly that he chose wave dash back, it kind of was just like 3 dice rolls in a row. A little bit.
Yeah, I feel like if we like replace some of these shields with just something else, whether it's dashing, whether it's full hopping, whether it's short hop aerialing, just like something with a little bit more activity, I think that would be a good starting point when you're on for the back foot side of this. And then I think like the other big thing that we need to like be better about recognizing is when we just have when we have very, very likely hits, like very, very, very like good hits to take, and then just making sure that we're taking them. Because I think that's a lot of this, like, that like puff overshooting concept that I told you about, like with the arcs. Look at how he like moves above you, and like imagine if like in this spot, like when you were about here, imagine if we like just once we see him here at this kind of angle, maybe over here, Imagine if we just turn around and dash jump like nair this way, like at the rainbow nair arc, right?
Yep.
Like this is so money.
And it's the line again for that we drew in the first game. It is
Yeah.
that angle on Puff, the one and the two.
Absolutely. Like we've got the angle, and the thing is, the reason this angle is so powerful is because like we have that we have back your dominance here, but it also means that we can we also have the duality of being able to overshoot with the arc as well. So even if she goes this way, we're fine. Like it doesn't matter. So it's because she really could just be over here too. But this doesn't, like, none of this, like, she could even be over here, she could be up here. It doesn't, none of it makes a difference. Like, it's, because this still cuts into her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're just like, boots.
Yeah. And I something I'm trying to sort of capture while we're going over this is, like, the effect of me moving towards him and around him and what influences that decision making for him to even go over in this spot. And it's because I've dashed forward enough that he thinks, okay, the other side looks better now. Really? Like, why did we trade places in the first place?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Like, this is actually worse. Actually, and one question I'd have here is, why are we even dashing at all? Like, why don't we, like, because if we stop here, like, if we see this fair up here, we can, like, reasonably see him, like, double jump fair. We know he can't come down until, like, now, right? So what would happen if you just hit the brakes here?
And just up tilt or anything, really.
Yeah, just, like, stand. Just stand and see what he does. Like, if you're standing here and you see him doing this, God, like, you can just up air him.
Yeah. Yeah. What's sort of manifesting out of this, and I don't know if I think you'll probably agree, but it's really just, like, a greater awareness of right now, I am not trying to establish a position under Puff. I'm not even really trying to establish a position at all. This is kind of the underpinning of the game plan, is that I am trying to establish a position. How do we get to it?
Yeah, what I would say, I would give yourself more credit than that. Like, that up air was quite good. What I'd say is it's more like you're waiting for the position. You're not creating it.
Yeah.
Yep. But like that was good recognition. But like what we need to be doing is we need to be taking a more like active role in creating that position. That's like really the missing ingredient here. When you have it, and it's obvious you have it, you do capitalize. Like I don't want to make it seem like you're doing everything wrong. It's just like we're missing like despite all the movements you're doing, we need them to be more like, funnily enough, proactive.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Yep.
God, you're so easy to work with. You're gonna leave me so spoiled for everyone tomorrow. I'm gonna be like, God, why can't you be like Soonsay? Why can't you be like Miles? And then it's like,
that was just a fucking really good. That was a really good drill and then grab there.
Yeah, so let's actually talk about like what we do after we get drilled here. So like, do you know anything about the frame data, about like when this works and stuff like that? If you don't, that's okay.
No, I straight up do not.
Okay, that's okay. Let's actually consult the magic.
I need data.
Yeah, the magic
calculator.
Box. Yeah, because I think it's important we know some of this stuff, and let's just get into it. So let's see here. Do any of these have different properties? No. This one does. Cool. So this is the one with all the knockback. Oh, they all have the same knockback. They're all. Oh, these are the upper. Okay, cool. So we don't actually care about these. Nice. So let's say we're at 25. We're at 25 after the hit, so we're at 23 going into it. Love it. How much stun do we have? 18. So if we take 18 frames of stun, and do you know anything about the L cancel time on this thing? If no, that's totally fine. I know it.
Again, no, I really don't know the mechanics of this.
It's 15. She's +3. So with that in mind, your dash is actually perfect here. Your dash is actually quite good here, because it is like an instant option that gets us out of danger. You can see that she then runs in that direction. So what I would say also makes some amount of sense is, well, the one thing I want to know is why did we run to the left, you think? Why not the right?
I think I was trying to go through Puff and not get grabbed, but I don't know if that makes a ton of sense.
I feel like she just can't get you if you go over here.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe I might just be some like baked in habit thinking that I'm going to get grabbed there or that it's better to go through. Um, yeah, honestly, can't really say. In the moment, I was just like, damn, he got that grab. That was crazy.
Yeah, so okay, let's clean up this habit. Here's what I'm thinking. There are some indicators we can actually use pretty concretely to know that we go this way. Obviously, one of them is pretty obvious. What do you think it is?
Runs of stage.
Uh,
There's like a lot of room.
well, we have plenty of room in the other way.
True. I mean, Puff is not there.
Yeah,
Puff
left.
Puff is on my left. Go right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then the other factor here is percent, because like we know that at this percent it doesn't combo. For reference, it combos around 40.
Yep.
So doesn't combo. Percent, no percent. That's the big one. And then there's one more thing that we're using to like. There's one really good reaction point that we can use to know that we can do this. It is her landing, because Puff's down air L cancels for 15 frames. So it is actually as soon as you see her touch the ground, this is 15 frames, which means that this fits into reaction windows super, super, super easy, because we have being hit by her and we have her landing to work with to know when to act. You see what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I would say these, and down air. Yeah, that's the other factor. So with all this in mind, we really want this is perfect safety, because there's nothing she can do that like catches Fox if he moves away in this position. Like she's gonna be like all the way over here while you're running away. Like she's gonna move like that by the time you're like over here. So yeah, we just want to make sure we're running to the right side. It's not like a terribly like big observation, but the point is like downer is laggy. Do not get caught by the cheese. Because
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It is kind of a funny thing where it's like, hey, I know you got ranked pretty highly in the world, but also, have you ever considered dashing away from your opponent when you're trying to not get hit by something?
I mean, to be fair, like, I'm pretty sure that in, like, some this is a very, very niche situation and a very niche play. Like, I'm surprised he went for the down air at all at that percent. So, I would not, don't beat yourself up. One thing I want to point out, this up tilt is quite good, the one that you have coming up.
Yeah, because, again, the exact opposite of what happened earlier occurred, too. And, yeah, Jesus. Oh, man, it's annoying. It's almost annoying to watch. If you go back to just before the first up tilt, what establishes the position, we start crossing each other up, and I go back, I think is what happened. I start going forward, back. Like, there's a small push into him, and then going back, and I don't dash dance. I wave dash back into that position, and he goes to go over my head, which completely changes the dynamic of that, because I have up tilt available.
Yeah. Up tilt good.
Up tilt, very good.
The other thing here I want to point out is, like, you see how he's keeping, like, you see how he's, like, kind of moving. There's, like, a little an opening right before he touches the ground in some of these spots. Like, you go for this up smash here, but one thing I want to ask you is, what do you think would happen if you went for nair? Or fair.
Nair when he's at that height?
Yeah.
Or a little lower? Realistically, like, I'm going to say worst case we trade. He gets the bear out just in time kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a chance that the nair just wins. There's a chance that it's a weak hit nair, I guess, if he drifts it back. But, like, overall, all roads lead to nair connecting, probably.
Yeah. And I feel like you're going for a lot of kill moves, but nair and fair can absolutely be kill moves if they set up if they set up smash or up air. So yeah. I just want us to I think the big challenge with you is just getting you to, like, move in longer dash dances, because, like, weirdly enough, I think that, like, an easier way for you to implement a lot of these things will be to, like, lean into your dash dance somewhat, but, like, to understand where we enter run and use that, because I think that spacing will come to you a little bit more naturally, just with, like, where your skill set is. But I still want you to, I still think that, like, it'll be worthwhile to also work on the wave dash stuff as well.
Yep.
Also, when you land from aerials, that is also like a fairly like if you empty jump or land from aerials, that is also perfectly valid as a way to like position for ground moves. Like it works. It's the Sheik 1-2 punch, right? So
Yep.
if it's good enough for Sheik, it's good enough for us. Doesn't apply to Ices. But it's I think that what I think we can agree the big takeaway here is we need to like be positioning more aggressively to be like underneath him and like seeing how he responds to that because he doesn't really have a whole lot there. A lot of our fears about being underneath him don't really seem terribly founded. And I also think that we're worried about him going over us, but a lot of times that's where we get our hits. So I think in situations with like the platforms and stuff where we're worried about him going over us and we try to contain him, I think that we kill off the top. I think that we just need to be okay with him doing that sometimes and just accept it's a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, and the overshoot like nair stuff. Because like, yeah, that perfect, beautiful. That's like textbook.
Yeah. But again, it's all reliant on that initial dash, not dash dance, dash under. It kind of follows him as he's rising and then connecting with the nair. It's a 2-part process I don't really think I've been respecting.
Yeah, we're trying to like do like we're trying to combine the steps a lot here. On the places.
Yeah, it's sort of a dash. It's sort of a dash, then a dash nair, but they're both in the same direction. Like the first dash effectively lines up to follow him as he's kind of running away.
I wonder if that's why you're why you want him in the corner so badly. Because I'm just thinking about it, and like it would be easier to do like a tight dash dance. Like that's probably why you're doing your dash dances so tightly, isn't it? Because like it's easier to set that up in one direction if you're doing while also being somewhat mobile if you're doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it gets to this percent, and I just change the strategy entirely and just start fishing for bear there because Puff dies.
Sure,
I just don't think it's worth
it.
But
but you still do it at low percent. You're gonna do it like in a little bit here once you respawn too, though. Like you'll probably get you'll do your punish on him, like fine. But like I think that once you're in combat position, you're still gonna go back to like tight dash dances or like fairly tight dash dances.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Ah, full hop up air. Okay, so was this a misinput? I think this is a misinput. Like this is clearly just full hop up air, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't have been double jump.
Okay, cool. Moving on then. Yeah, for stuff like that, I don't like lingering on it. It's a waste of time.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, like it's okay, yeah, because you can move in like big movements, but not like little. Like you can cover like big spaces, but like covering or little spaces, but you can't really cover in between with how you're doing things. That makes sense. This is why he's like doing this. And then you go to a big movement, and he almost gets the opening. So then he's like, okay, yeah, no, this plan works. Just back up. Yeah. Because we're just
it's got to be a medium movement there. Like I need to, because he goes for that grab, because it's like all he has to do is read a dash at this point. I'm not really doing anything varied. Yeah. He goes for that grab, assuming I'm just going to run in at some point.
Yeah, and like it's also not just medium movement. It's also medium, like it's also like where you're attacking with your move relative to your body, right? So like because we're doing aerials and like dash stuff so much, like everything you're doing is going to be super close to you, and like basically in this like pretty tight formation near the bottom of Fox's body. Because we don't really, it doesn't like, or it's your up smash. It's exactly your up smash. But everything else basically conforms to that. So yeah, not having up tilt, not having down tilt, we don't really have access to our jab. Like it's just, we're so constricted.
Yeah, in an effort to like give him nothing at every single percent. Like doing this at high percents and just tacking on lasers, I don't hate. But I'm playing like good. Every percent of every stock.
Yeah. The same. And the funny thing is like even then you still like maintain advantage state like more there than you did previously. That's so like even when you're this is I actually really like this is probably pretty close to like this has more of like the blend we're looking for sure. I think that this is I think this stock here in this game is a good one to like look at independently if you want to get some ideas on yourself. I'd also like another thing you could do that I find helpful is just when you talk to Cody, like just ask him if he has any examples of like how he would play just get examples of how he would like kind of like approach the sharking in some of these spots, and like pay attention to how he like kind of uses the utility of his other moves, and his other movements to like gain advantage. Because I think that would be something good to take from him.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a few things noted down here that I want to talk to him about as well.
So do you like throw foxes just like all talk to each other? Do you have like a group chat?
No, not a group chat really. It's more just like the man. He SDI'd like every up air. Oh yeah, I think I try this mistake one more time. I almost get killed for it, but I don't think it ever comes to fruition.
I like that short up back here, for what it's
well, because he starts switching to grappler mode when the risk reward's crazy for him. He's like, he's gonna die at the next hit, you know. But if he gets me, it would just be a crazy equalizer. I just sort of feel like he works that way. Mm-hmm. So I'm always more on guard for those when he starts going into full grappler mode.
I love that,
and that's how it works. Pardon me?
I love the names for these. So
yeah, sick. he does just have grappler mode, but that's a habit that I've been working to try and get rid of. Just panic jumping out of the corner. Of course, he's going to look for that. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I would be down to talk about it though, just to consider. So I realize we're kind of close to the end of the time anyway, but
let's talk about that. And let's talk about that. Maybe like we can just kind of chat casually about that. I'm fine with that. But one thing I wanted to ask you: do you know what DI were you holding on that one?
That looked like I was holding in on the up air.
Sorry, on the rest, you mean?
Oh, on the rest? Shit, I don't even know. I think I probably just held in on the up air and the rest.
Okay. I think...
Because is that why I went so far? Well, I died off the top.
So where does her up throw put you? You figure... Actually, you know what? We can do this. We can actually just do this with combo, can't we? So let's make this one up throw. Puff up throw. Up throw. Woo! So it's like here. And then she's actionable here. So you're probably getting hit on this move by rest around here. And then we have to lower the percent because it's like at 80. It's at 67 that you got thrown? Yeah, because you're at 77 after.
Okay.
And then combo snapping on. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was hoping to show you. If you hold down, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You don't have to know what side. You can just hold down and it'll kill you either way.
I see. When it's those higher percents, just basically hold down. It's kind of a deal.
If you're at so actually this is even lower than that. You're like way lower than I thought. So it's actually after the hit. Yeah. So if you're at like say like 49 going into this, yeah, like absolutely doesn't matter.
Damn. The more you know.
Yeah, so when Jigglypuff up throws you and they have the option to, and you miss the DI so that you you just don't DI it for whatever reason. Maybe like no slight DI, so you don't she has full control over which side she does it on. If to deny the vertical kill, just hold down. It'll work until very high percents.
Interesting. Okay. Taking a bit of the power back at least.
Yeah.
In those shitty situations, make the best of the worst.
Yeah, because like having serve here, especially as Fox, like having like the punish on her coming back is like huge. Because like
it is, yeah.
Like laser into up air into like stuff is like, you know, this could be like put her into lethal percent potentially, if not kill her. Like again, he has to make mistakes on those, but like, you know, it happens. And even if you just put her into even if you just put her to 42 or something, like that's totally fine. Like we're happy. So it's just hold down.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
cool.
With this in mind, I know that we are at time, but I don't really count minutes. But how did you feel this went, and what are your thoughts? Talk to me, Mr. Pro Player.
Well, I've never really had any coaching before, and it's tough to sometimes get concepts across, but I feel this is pretty clear. It sort of just reaffirms what I've been thinking in some matchups across the board, that I can tend to be a little too passive. Mm-hmm. It's like I know what wins in a spot, and then I opt not to play it on the off chance it loses. You know what I mean? Like I sort of relinquish like 30% of the game by doing this. And I do think it's something that I'm starting to crack the shell on in like Foxmarth and, you know, some other matchups that I've really played a lot of. But this sort of we'll say default game plan or default play style tends to emerge in these matchups I'm less experienced in, where I don't really know my my sort of advantages and what, how to play to those strengths and how to create those, as you put it, creating the positions. So yeah, as far as like the session, meta analysis of the last hour, it's good. It's all really like, it sort of materializes what I think needs to change. But obviously, I need to now go kind of put it into practice and come back to the drawing board and say these things didn't feel great. Why didn't they feel great? And slowly hone in on a game plan. The other thing is like, I don't think I can possibly base it off of one session. Like, I think it's easier to, do a few and sort of say, what has been accomplished here, and go from there. But like, yeah, I just don't have, I don't really do any of the coaching stuff very often, if ever. So, I don't really know what to expect.
Okay, no worries. So I've just made some notes. Just kind of like to help us understand like what our goals are in the matchup. I also wanted to make a note of hold down when to deny ambiguous cross up rest KO. Let's see here. Is there anything else that we desperately need? No, I think this pretty much covers it. The diagrams explain everything else, and I agree with you. I want to be clear that I'm not expecting you to like tell me, yo, you're like this is life changing or something today. It's more about just like, does this style of working together work for you? It sounds like it does. So I'm very excited. I hope we can continue to work together going forward. I'm gonna cut the recording here.